it's Calculus by Christee, and I hope everyone out there is having an awesome day. In this video, we're going to be finding derivatives using a table first, and then in the next problem, we're going to be using a graph. And both of these problems actually also require the use of chain rule, which pops up a lot in calculus. And these questions are often asked on the AP Calculus exam, if that is something that some of you are taking. So just keep that in mind, and let's go ahead and get started. So here we want to find j prime of 1, and we are given j of x. What I always encourage students to do is first write out as step 1 what j prime of x is. Don't jump straight to j prime of 1. I find that if students skip too many steps, they're more likely to make silly errors. And like I said, this does require the use of the chain rule. If you'd like to see a previous video where I talk about the chain rule, make sure to click here to learn more about that very common rule that shows up often. And as I show in that video, I like to first identify the inside function, which I'm going to call u. And then I like to write the outside function in terms of u. And then I take the derivative of each. So here's the derivative of the outside function, and here's the derivative of the inside function. And then j prime of x is going to be the product of both of these. So the derivative of the outside function, 3u squared, would be 3. Let's plug back in the u, which is f of x plus x squared. So it's 3u squared, and then times u prime, which is f prime of x plus 2x. So once again, first step, make sure you're writing the derivative in terms of x. Then I do like to go to a second step where I now replace all x's with the value of 1. Again, I just like to take this step because oftentimes just taking this one step helps you get the answer right in the end and not make silly little errors. So let's go ahead and replace that x with 1. All right, and now time to simplify and use my table as needed. So j prime of 1 will be equal to 3, and then f of 1, well, we can see from the table when x is 1, f of x is 3. So f of 1 is 3 plus 1 squared times, and also from the table, f prime of 1 is going to be 2. And sometimes you may be given extra information we don't need, so make sure to narrow your focus on what we do need to use from this table. So f prime of 1 is 2, and then 2 times 1 is 2. All right, just a little more simplifying left. 3 times 4 squared times 4 for a final answer of 192. And that's a problem where we had to use the chain rule to find a derivative using a table. Now let's go to a function where we will need to take a derivative again using the chain rule, but this time we're going to use a graph to help us fill in our information. So just like I did before, I like to identify the inside function, which I call u. And then my outside function would be f of u. Take the derivative of each. And I'm going to plug back in my u here to see that the derivative of my outside function would be f prime of g of x. So in this problem, I need to find h prime of 1. But before I write h prime of 1, as I did in the last example, I first want to write out h prime of x. Again, don't skip too many steps and make silly errors. So the derivative of h is going to be the product of f prime of g of x times g prime of x. For my next step, I do like to take the time to plug in the x value of 1 and for all of my x values. So this would be f prime of g of 1 times g prime of 1. And it's time to look at the table to find some of this information. G of 1. Looks like the g function is this blue function on the graph. G of 1 just means what is the value of the g function at the x value of 1, and it looks like the value is 3. I'll find the derivatives in the next row. All right, f prime of 3, that's going to be the slope of the tangent line, or the derivative on the f graph, at an x value of 3. So if I follow this up, I want to take the slope of this line right here. Looks like I go down 1 and over 1, 2, 3, 4. So I believe my slope there is -1/4. Now for g prime of 1, I'm going to follow the 1 up to the g function right here and take the slope or the derivative of this line segment, which is -3. Multiplying those, I get a final answer of 3/4. And remember those steps. Try to go through those steps again so you don't make silly errors when in fact you know how to do the problem. I hope you found this video useful to how to find the derivative of functions using the chain rule on both a table and a graph. If you did, give it a like. Feel free to write any comments or questions. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to click subscribe so that you can see weekly math videos. Have a great day, everyone. See you in the next video.